Hi, PerspectaWeather.com meteorologist Paul Dorian here on Friday, November 22nd. We have a cold, soaking rain event coming to the Mid-Atlantic region this upcoming weekend, primarily in the hours between late Saturday afternoon or early Saturday evening through Sunday morning. High temperatures both days on the weekend will hold in the 40s up and down the D.C., Philadelphia, New York City corridor. Again, a cold, soaking rain event this weekend in the Mid-Atlantic region. And that follows a milder day today. We'll go well up into the 50s in most spots in the I-95 corridor region as a cold frontal system approaches. That front could cause some showers, especially between mid to late morning and mid to late afternoon. Not an all-day rain event, but occasional showers possible, again, from mid to late morning through mid to late afternoon in the D.C., Philadelphia, New York City corridor. There could even be some sunshine returning to the skies late in the day. It'll be breezy. Again, temperatures reaching the 50s. Then tonight, colder air moves in. The winds die down to the upper 20s in most suburban locations along the I-95 corridor region. And then clouds will thicken up during the day on Saturday. Much of the day may be rain-free, but then rain should arrive probably later in the afternoon in D.C. and late in the day or early tomorrow night in Philly and New York City, and continue for the rest of the night and pretty much through Sunday morning. Could be some improvement Sunday afternoon as this quite vigorous system that will form along the Mid-Atlantic coastline pulls slowly away on Sunday to the north and east. Before we get to the weekend forecast, I kind of want to take a little speculative look ahead to the month of December here. There are some signs that we will have some cold air masses during the month of December, most likely affecting the central and eastern U.S. That's a little too early to say, but I want to talk a little bit about what it's looking like for December. There are some signs that we'll have a stratospheric warming event over the polar region, and that often results in cold air outbreaks into the central and eastern U.S. There are some signs for pretty significant high latitude blocking with higher pressure than normal, higher heights than normal over places like Greenland and northeastern Canada. That too tends to favor the influx of cold air into the central and eastern U.S. from way up in northern Canada. This happens to be just a single forecast from a single model run for December 4th. We're just looking again in the speculative stage here. This is from last night's GFS model run, but look at this cold air, the expanse of this cold air here in terms of relatives to normal. This is again looking way ahead, December 4th, but it's been pretty consistent. And again, there are reasons to believe there will be some cold air masses. This is actually followed in this particular model run by another cold air shot. So again, there are some signs that as we turn from November to December, there could be some real cold air masses dropping from northern and western Canada into the central and eastern U.S. Let's stick to this theme about the December temperatures, at least the outlook for December temperatures, before we get to the weekend situation. We've talked about this in recent weeks, where the models tend to be underplaying the cold air. The forecast for the month of November, for example, for many climate models, as late as a week before the month began, were very warm, too warm. And of course, November is turning out and should continue to turn out to be colder than normal across a wide part of the nation. This is NOAA's climate model called the CFS, Climate Forecast System, and it seems to be repeating the same pattern here, where it's not catching up to the cold air until we get a little bit closer to the event time or the verification time. This is a forecast excuse me, that's updated daily. This is for the December outlook for temperatures across the nation. We go back about a week or so ago, very warm looking forecast for the month of December by this particular model, and it continued for the next few days. But look at where we stand right now. This is one of the latest runs here. Look at the difference again between a week ago or so and what we're seeing right now. And I expect that this will actually continue to look colder and colder as we get closer and closer to the month of December. So again, For some reason, this particular pattern over the last several weeks, a lot of models are having trouble picking up the cold air masses that are coming into North America. At least they're either missing them entirely or underplaying them. And again, that probably will be the case here again as we go into the month of December. Expect some of these models to end up looking colder and colder across much of the nation for the month of December. And one final map, this came out from NOAA just yesterday for the month of December, and high probability of warmer than normal across the entire country. Again, I think this is probably not going to happen here, and we'll see maybe a shift in their forecast along with the CFS over the next few days as we get closer and closer to the verification time for the month of December. Again, this just put out by NOAA. Don't really have much confidence in this. I think there are many, many signs now for some very cold air masses coming into the nation during the month of December. Well, let's take a look at the current radar loop. Getting back to the short-term situation, we have a frontal system moving from the northwest to the southeast. There are some showers out across the Ohio Valley, West Virginia, western Pennsylvania. Looks like for the most part, the D.C., Philadelphia, New York City metro regions will stay rain-free over the next few hours, but from mid to late morning through mid to late afternoon, there certainly can be some showers in the I-95 corridor region. Not an all-day event, not a significant rain event, but again, anytime from mid to late morning through mid to late afternoon, there can be some occasional showers. It'll become breezy, relatively mild in the 50s for high temperatures. Late in the afternoon, the sun can return in at least portions of the I-95 corridor, and temperatures could actually drop during the late afternoon hours following the passage of that cold front. Again, tonight, winds die down, clear skies, very cold by morning, back into the upper 20s in most suburban locations as we begin the upcoming weekend. Well, let's now take a look at some of the key players for this weekend soaking rain event. Actually will turn out to be quite a strong storm along the mid-Atlantic coastline during the day on Sunday. Some areas will get some heavy rainfall out of this as well. I expect anywhere from maybe 3/4 of an inch to a 1.25 inches in the D.C., Philadelphia, New York City corridor. Again, primarily from late tomorrow, early tomorrow night through Sunday morning. We have an upper level feature right now over the eastern Great Lakes. That's associated really with that cold frontal system that is sliding from the Great Lakes south and east to the mid-Atlantic region. Passes through over the next few hours. Winds actually will shift by late in the afternoon to northwest, setting us up for quite a cold start to the weekend. Low temperatures, the upper 20s tonight, late tonight, and highs on both weekend days only in the 40s. Well below normal for this time of the year. Now let's push forward here and watch this upper level feature out over the middle part of the country as we get into the upcoming weekend. It plays a major role in the development of what will become quite a strong storm for the mid-Atlantic coastline by Sunday morning. And here we go. It just slides basically from west to east. Here we are by Saturday evening, and low pressure will form over the Tennessee Valley early tomorrow. And what really happens is the initial low heads into the Appalachians, tends to die out there, and a secondary will form over the mid-Atlantic coastline and intensify quite nicely late Saturday night and Sunday morning. And again, by the time midday Sunday rolls around, there'll be a strong storm off the mid-Atlantic, southern New England coastline, aided by this very strong feature in the upper part of the atmosphere. Now watch what happens by Sunday morning. Sitting right over the I-95 corridor region, then by Sunday afternoon, here we go. We've talked about this many times. When the upper level feature takes on kind of a negatively tilted trough axis orientation, that's from the northwest to the southeast, that produces some very vigorous upward motion on the eastern side. Again, you have the upper level low right here, and the trough axis kind of becomes negatively tilted by Sunday midday. That'll aid in the intensification of this low pressure area off the mid-Atlantic or southern New England coastline. What that will do is not only intensify the rainfall amounts in places like New Jersey, southeastern New York, Connecticut, It'll lengthen the time period for this event going through the hours of Sunday morning across eastern Pennsylvania, New Jersey, southeastern New York. So again, a very healthy system. If this were a month or two from now, maybe it would have been cold enough for a nice snowstorm in this particular setup. Not quite there. I will say though, it will be cold enough in the far northern and western suburbs of some of these urban areas for some sleet, snowflakes to mix in at times. However, for D.C., Philadelphia, New York City, primarily a cold, soaking rain event coming this weekend. Well, let's now take a look at the surface maps, and we have low pressure over southeastern Canada, cold front trailing that low pressure system all the way into the mid-Atlantic region, the Ohio Valley. Already really the surface cold front has entered Pennsylvania, and it will slide across the I-95 corridor region during the next several hours. And again, by late in the day, could be a return to some sunshine. Winds shift to the northwest. Temperatures could drop by late in the afternoon in D.C., Philadelphia, New York City, following the passage of that frontal system. And here's some shower activity, primarily mid to late morning to mid to late afternoon. Gets on out of here quite quickly by later in the afternoon. Quite a breeze will develop, first out of the southwest, then out of the northwest late in the day, but that breeze will die down in the overnight hours as this high pressure moves over. It'll be quite a good radiational cooling type of night with clear skies, diminishing winds, a cold air mass, upper 20s by tomorrow morning in many suburbs in the I-95 corridor region. Then, as we begin the day on Saturday, surface low pressure will form over the Tennessee Valley. Keep in mind that vigorous system in the upper part of the atmosphere moving overhead, so that will help in the intensification of this system. A 1009 millibar low come tomorrow morning. Then the initial low tends to move up into the Appalachians here. By the way, the Penn State-Ohio State game at noon tomorrow in Columbus. Very likely to see some rainfall, maybe even some snow at the onset, but some rainfall is likely, at least during the latter part of the game in Columbus, Ohio on Saturday. The game starts at noon. Let's keep moving forward here. Notice here the rain line has just about reached D.C. metro area. Again, the timing looks like mid to late afternoon in D.C., maybe late afternoon, early evening in Philadelphia and New York City. Much of Saturday will be rain-free, but then a soaking rain for tomorrow night, a cold rain. Highs only in the 40s tomorrow and dropping back to the 30s for the most sections tomorrow night. And notice here then, low pressure over the mid-Atlantic region comes Sunday morning, and that upper level feature then takes on that negatively tilted trough axis. It leads to some rapid intensification. So remember, by tomorrow morning, that low started out as a 1009, 1009 millibar low, 989 by the time we get to midday on Sunday, just south of Long Island. That extends to rainfall in the eastern part of Pennsylvania, New Jersey, southeastern New York, all the way up into New England. And again, some of the colder elevation, higher elevation areas of upstate Pennsylvania could see some sleet and snow out of this. Maybe in the far northern and western suburbs of D.C., Philadelphia, New York City, there could be some sleet, ice pellets mixed in at times, maybe even a few flakes. Then we move ahead. It finally pulls on out of here. Could be some improvement late in the day on Sunday, and then moderately chilly and dry as we begin the new work week. This is the short week coming up, Thanksgiving. Let's take a quick peek ahead. It looks like a strong cold front will cross the northern U.S. during the first half of next week. And here we go by Tuesday. Significant snow for portions of the upper Midwest as that next cold shot arrives. That frontal system doesn't have much punch to it when it arrives in the mid-Atlantic region on Wednesday, at least in terms of precipitation. Expecting some shower activity potentially on Wednesday, a big travel day. And again, that front looks like it arrives Wednesday time frame of next week, and that sets a stage for colder air to move in for Thanksgiving Day. It looks like we'll have a cold high pressure system moving from the northern plains towards the Great Lakes by the time we get into Sunday. And here we go Thursday, Thanksgiving Day. Here we are, Thursday morning, Thanksgiving Day. Strong, cold, high pressure, south part of Canada. Real powerful stream of air out of the north to the south across southeastern Canada, New England, the mid-Atlantic region. In other words, it'll be windy and cold on Thursday, it looks like, here in the mid-Atlantic region, with winds out of the north to northwest. That strong winds could have an impact on any parades on a Thursday, but again, it looks dry but chilly and windy on Thanksgiving Day. It'll turn warmer after that, but then, as we talked about at the onset of this video discussion, could be a trend to colder as we turn from November into December. And again, there's some signs for some very cold air masses that could impact much of the U.S. during the month of December. That's it for now. A chilly, soaking rain event coming to the Mid-Atlantic region for this upcoming weekend. For PerspectaWeather.com, I'm meteorologist Paul Dorian.